voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ, or Iglesianicristo.
Good morning and welcome to INCRadio Washington, D.C. Satellite Studio. I'm Sister Lara J. Evangelista. Today is Saturday, September 7, 2024, and we are talking about our favorite moments and memories throughout our INC 110 celebration in celebration of 15 years of our beloved Brother Eduardo V. Manalo's dynamic leadership in the Iglesianicristo Church of Christ. And joining us today, we have a very, very special guest all the way from Baltimore, Maryland. Would you mind introducing yourself this morning?
Hello, good morning. My name is Brother Mark Castillo, and I am from the locale of Baltimore, Maryland.
Good morning, Brother Mark. So glad to have you back on the show this morning. And we want to ask you, how did you celebrate the INC 110 anniversary?
Yeah, I mean, the main biggest thing was the INC concert 110. That would have to be the biggest, way I celebrated the 110th anniversary.
That's so awesome, Brother Mark. And how did you participate in it? Were you a singer? Were you a dancer, instrumentalist, anything like that?
Yeah, normally I like to be like backstage or something, but this time around, I was able to be actually one of the dancers at the activity.
That's so cool. Were you in all of the performances, or were there like certain performances where they had a bunch of dancers or some select dancers or anything like that?
Yeah, so it was mainly the opening and the closing numbers where the dancers performed. And then there was also one more performance before the closing, which was Purified Like Gold, which the dancers also performed.
That's so awesome. And what of all of the performances that you were a part of, or just during that whole concert as a whole, what was your favorite memory, or maybe what was your favorite song or number to be in the program?
Yeah, I think definitely my favorite was one of the songs in the closing. It was Superhuman Energy. There's like a part in the song where we're all chanting like, "Oh, superhuman, superhuman energy," and then everybody just like came together in that moment and like as a group and like you could just feel everyone's energy and like the culmination, the excitement of like all the practices we had in that moment. Just really, chanting that like we really needed the superhuman energy, and we felt it, in that moment for sure.
That is so amazing, Brother Mark. And honestly, I know that, especially in Washington, D.C., the INC 110 concert was just the most beautiful and extravagant activity, event, performance that we've ever had, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure the venue seated like over 1,000 people. I know everyone in the district came out and supported it and was able to attend and witness it. So, and even from the pictures that we're going to see soon, the lighting, the design, all the costumes, all of you guys looked so beautiful. And it just looks like it was so much fun. So I'm so excited to learn more about your experience with the INC 110 concert. And before we get into all of that discussion, for our audience this morning, don't forget to tell us what were your favorite INC 110 memories in our live chat to be featured in today's episode of INC Radio. But yeah, we'd love to hear. I'm so excited to talk about it. So, Brother Mark, you just mentioned your favorite probably experience was that closing number, right? So I want to ask you, how did you and all of the other dancers, all of the other performers go about, preparing for this production? How was the rehearsal process like?
Yeah, so I mean, it was definitely we had about a month basically to get everything together, almost from scratch, and that was July. So it's also we're preparing for Pasalamad, and many of us require, we're memorizing the processional also. Um, but so at first it seemed super overwhelming, right? Like there's no way we. It felt like there's like no way we could do all these things, and how can we, how would it be possible to have all these things um, done and create this like grand vision of this like INC concert 110. um, but it was really an opportunity to not rely on our own selves, but really rely on what God can do for us. And really, like, we practiced week after week, so going and driving to Washington D.C. to practice with everybody. um, and week after week you could really see that everything coming together, everything, um, God really moving the pieces as needed, uh, so that on that day of, even on the day of, there's still pieces being moved around. Like, uh, everything turned out as it was meant to be, and like better than any of us could have really imagined.
That's awesome, Brother Mark. And I mean, I was able to be there for some of the rehearsals that you guys did, and I was also able to see how much fun that all of you guys had. We did have them in Washington D.C., like you said, week after week, and I know that all of the brethren really enjoyed seeing each other. I enjoyed seeing all of you guys, and especially I know there were performances where we had the younger brethren in the church, our CWS, and like seeing them was so cute. That's probably my favorite thing to watch, was our little kids just singing and dancing on stage, and they looked like they were having so much fun. But really, I feel like that whole learning process, yes, you're focusing on learning the steps, learning the music, but I feel like you're also learning yourself, right? You're learning, how do I learn? How do I move? How do how do I memorize all of this choreography, or how do I memorize all of these words? And then you're also learning about, how exactly do I work with other people, right? How do I lead? Maybe if you were ever, tasked to lead something or help someone practice something, right? Or how do I follow, right? How good of a learner am I, right? So I think that it's projects like these, when we're doing productions like these, shows and just musical performances, that really teach you a lot about yourself. They teach you a lot about your strengths and your weaknesses as well. So stuff, all of that. That's why musical performances are my favorite thing in the world, because I always say, um, when words fail, music speaks. So I think that that's how these performances and activities like this really, really bring us together, and they really form like really tight bonds with the people that you're working with, and really, really core memories. So I also want to ask you, throughout the rehearsal process, and I know you mentioned even on the day of the performance itself, like you guys were still like, there were still revisions being made, we were still making it better, so you guys could put your absolute best foot forward on that stage. But I want to ask you, during the rehearsal process and through the performance itself, how did your perspective on the activity and on the program that you and the team were preparing, how did it evolve or change from going from seeing the day one rehearsal to the finale, the grand finale performance?
Yes. Yeah, in the beginning, it's like it was very, we were very like everyone had their own piece to practice on their kind of like on their own. So the dancers practiced the choreography, the singers, lead singers, practiced, their own stuff. So we didn't, in the beginning, we didn't really see how everything came together. It was like we were all practicing our own pieces in our own time. Um, but then after we mastered, like, or not mastered, but like got the basics down, like, and we put it together. um like we were able to kind of tweak things even further from there. uh and it was just a very like constantly showing up, constantly practicing, and most especially constantly praying that everything would come together as perfect as could be, for this really grand celebration. And um, like week by week, you could really see everything coming together as everyone put their like blood, sweat, and tears, and you could really see uh, God working, and because there's no way in that that's such small period of time, and with all these things happening, like there's no way that it would have been possible without God's help.
I 100% agree. And like I said, just activities like this, just musical performances, even if you do like, if you've ever done musical theater at school or choir in school or anything like that, it's always those things that like really pull a group together. But then, especially when we do it in the church, especially when there's so many things going on right at the same time. Like it is the 110th anniversary of the church, right? And we were celebrating that as well during our anniversary Thanksgiving worship services. So we were preparing for that as well as this huge INC 110 concert. And I think that it was really such an opportunity to see God's miracles working in our lives and see how he can take something from nothing and make it amazing, right? And we're seeing all the fun pictures right now as well. Like you can see how much fun that you guys had. You're all smiling. You just all love each other and you were all just so happy to be there. So yeah, I'm really, really glad that you had an amazing experience with that, Brother Mark. And speaking of amazing experiences, a few days after the INC 110 concert, you actually also went to Canada, right? For the International Kadua meet and greet.
Yes, yes, I was one of the delegates who went to Canada for the international meet and greet.
That is so awesome. I know we're seeing these pictures now. There were, from what I hear, there were about like 900 delegates, right, who were there from all around the world and from unstoppable Washington, D.C. itself. I believe we had about 25 of us there. So it was really glad. I was really glad to see all of you guys there. And I hope that everybody who was able to go had fun. But let us know in the chat if you were at the International Kadiwa meet and greet, how much you miss it. What were your favorite activities or what were your favorite memories or takeaways from our International Kadua meet and greet? And if you weren't at that one, let us know in the chat if you have ever been to if you've ever been to a Kadua meet and greet at all. And we would be excited to hear about your stories as well. But for everyone's reference, everyone's understanding, and for a little context, the International Kadua meet and greet was basically a 3-day activity that took place in Manitoba, Canada. And Kadiwa, or like the Christian youth delegates from within all over the world, like we just gathered there for a 3-day activity and we made new friends and maybe we met people, we greeted people, and maybe some people found special someones in Canada. I don't know, Brother Mark, I don't know if you found a special someone in Canada or anything. But basically the first day, all of us were just trickling in. We were traveling. I know I arrived on that first day and we were actually greeted by all of the very hospitable brethren in the District of Manitoba. So they were very, very amazing, and special shout out to all of them. And then we just kind of got to start meeting each other. We got some of our swag. We got like lanyards, we got tote bags and t-shirts. So it was very, very fun. And then on the second day, it actually started with a special worship service in the morning. And then we had a formal banquet at the evening, and we all got to dress up in our gowns, and the brothers had their suits. It was very, very fun. There were musical performances and games, and we got to meet a lot of people who were, at the tables that we were sitting at. We got to enjoy dinner together. It was amazing. And then on the third day, we actually visited the church's unland farm in Canada. And that was also super fun. There were food booths everywhere. We got to meet some animals, and there were more musical performances there as well. So, Brother Mark, I want to ask you, being able to be at the International Kadiwa meet and greet, did you have any favorite parts of it, or what were your favorite parts of the International Kadiwa meet and greet?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would have to say my favorite part was definitely the third day, which was like the kind of like the closing out of the whole meet and greet, where we went to the farm, because it was like kind of like the culmination of all the experiences of the past 3 days, and it was like an opportunity to really, I guess, bond with the new like faces that we've met, and even still make new friends also, because it was like mainly a day of just like really there's like food booths, like little games and activities, and like open mic. So it was a very just like a time to really just come together, enjoy everyone's brotherhood, enjoy everyone's like company, and continue to enjoy the relationships that we built and made over even how short of those 3 days were.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Like 3 days, I feel like at first, like when they first told us about this activity, it's going to be 3 days long. I feel like some people were probably thinking like 3 day long activity, like that's crazy. That sounds like so much time. But I feel like once we got there, it was like there was never enough time. It was always like the day just disappeared so quickly. We were just having so much fun. We just made so many friends, and we were just exposed to so many new relationships and people from so all sorts of different places, and we got to hear their stories, their experiences, and see how, like, even though we're all from different places and maybe we all have kind of niche cultures from our different states or from our even our different countries, right? But even though we all have like these niche cultures, we're still all what part of one church, right? And we're still, having so much fun. And like I see in these pictures, you met such amazing groups of people, right? Can you tell us about like the picture that's showing right now? Like that was at the farm, right?
Yeah, yeah, those were at the farm. I mean, some of those are, from probably familiar faces from DC, since we were there. But yeah, I mean, I met like, um, a lot of people from like Southern California, like OCC, um, Northern California, some near my home, home district. Um, Ohio, Florida, like it was like our group was like just a mix of like all these different Kadiwa brethren from, across the country. Um, and it's crazy how even though we were so, far apart, like how well we melded together, like, all, from all these different places. Um, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. I met so many people from Canada. Obviously, they were like the host district, so they had a great turnout of brethren who showed up there. But I believe we even had a sister all the way from Australia. So meeting all of those brethren was just amazing. It was just so fun. I probably never stopped smiling, and I 100% I definitely lost my voice. I lost my voice from all the meeting and greeting, but oh my goodness, even though it was just 3 days, it's like I feel like we just made so many lifelong friendships already, and some lifelong cherishable memories at the International Kadua meet and greet. Personally, one of my favorite, I think my main highlight, my favorite part of the International Kadua meet and greet was the special worship service that really just kickstarted the whole activity for us. So, it was just really amazing because all of the delegates, right? All of the delegates who came, all 900 of us, as well as all of like the brethren in Canada, and all of that, we were all able to have a special worship service together. And the choir was so large, and we were in this ginormous banquet hall, so it was really an amazing experience for me. And I wanted to ask you, Brother Mark, what were your main takeaways from that special worship service during the International Kadiwa meet and greet?
Yes, I mean the one takeaway that I just remember even up to now, like even after like right after the special worship service and like up to now, it's this one phrase that always stuck in my mind. It was the Bible says, and basically, I mean the context behind that is that as you Christians, especially as Christian youth, we're surrounded by so many. Influences, so many temptations. We're living in a world where there's still so much trials and hardships that we have to face, like all these things that um, you know kind of threaten to derail our faith or like lessen our faith, attack our faith. um, and that phrase, like the Bible says, like it just kind of reminded me of, it acts as like almost like a kind of pattern interrupt where like instead of falling into say despair or like temptation, you just I just remember that phrase like, oh, what the Bible says, so and so this Bible says such and such, and that's how we should approach like any trials, temptations, hardships that we face in this world.
Right. I completely agree. And, I wanted to say that, it's like that special worship service was really just tailored to the youth members of the Church of Christ, because it gave us like it really taught us in the sense of like, here are the tools that you need to fight for your faith in today's day and age, right? And I think that that's something that all of us, it was like it really primed all of our minds and got us all into the same headspace of like, we all feel so much like we all feel so strengthened right now. And then we went into the rest of the activity and found so much love amongst the brotherhood, right? So I want to ask you as well, how did the special worship service and the International Kadiwa meet and greet as a whole demonstrate the love and the care that our church administration has for the youth members within the Church of Christ?
Yes, of course. I think it's like um, a two-part thing. Like, of course, the first, like you said, the special worship service was just so tailored to what we as Christian youth, as the Kadiwa in the church are facing today. The temptations, the attacks from our enemy, things that threaten to derail our faith. But it gave it was they saw how hard it is for it is to be a Christian, and they wanted to give us the tools, a reminder of the tools that we have that we can use to to fight for our Christian identity and to remain as strong Christians in the church. And I guess the second part would have to be, of course, the brotherhood aspect, where we met all these brethren who are same beliefs, similar um, paths of life, or stages of life. I mean to say that are from all around the world, that are facing the same struggle or very similar struggles, very similar hardships. Um, but they face it with the same Christian values. They use the same Christian values to face those hardships. And I think knowing that anywhere we go, in this world, whatever country you go to, whatever state, we have that kind of like that community, that network that we can always plug into and we can always tap into no matter where we are. And I think realizing that there, having the opportunity to realize that is a blessing in and of itself, to know that you're never truly like alone wherever you go.
Right. And especially I know, like we mentioned, the Kadiwa is like the organization for the youth members in the Church of Christ who are 18 years and older and unmarried. So like that's what you meant by where, we're all in the same kind of stage of life where maybe some of us are students, maybe some of us are in the workforce, but regardless, we're all not married, at least not yet. And we're still, out in the world, we're finding ourselves, we're finding the one. And but I think that the Kadiwa meet and greet, like you mentioned, or actually something that was also mentioned in the special worship service was like, good character can be ruined by bad company. So it's really like activities like this that give the youth in the church an opportunity to get connected or build their community, find their good companions, because we were all in this giant group of 900 of us, right? That's almost 1,000 people, right? And we're all together, we're all making memories together, and we're all safe with each other because we have the same values, we have the same beliefs, we have the same faith, right? We're all striving towards shining as lights of this world, right? And we're all kind of going through similar struggles, so we're able to find that support system in each other and make those friends, so that when it comes to when we face those struggles, those trials of being a Christian, especially being a youth member who is a Christian, right? In today's time, in today's world, right? It really gives us that support system, and we know that we aren't alone. We have people that we can relate to. Also, if you're a student or if you're someone who moves to a new place because of work, you always have that community. And maybe this meet and greet, right, was able to give us introductions to people that will just kind of keep crossing paths with for the rest of our lives. So with that, I know that everyone who was able to participate in the International Kadiwa meet and greet is so, so, so grateful to the church administration for having activities like this, because of the impact that it has on strengthening all of us in our faith and strengthening our bonds with each other as fellow members of the Church of Christ. So with that, Brother Mark, thank you so much for joining us on our show this morning. And I just want to ask you if you have any special greetings to share this morning.
Yeah, just want to say, shout out to my family and friends in District of the Bay Area, now that they're called that now. And then also, of course, my family and friends here that I made in the locale of Baltimore. They really welcomed me so much, and yeah, it's been great so far since I've been here.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brother Mark. And with that, let's check out some of our greetings in our live chat. And if you haven't sent a message there yet, definitely do for a chance to be featured in our episode today. So from Brother Len DeGallo, we have good morning, Washington, D.C., Mid-Atlantic. God bless Paul. And let's go, Brother Mark. You have so many fans in the chat this morning, Brother Mark. That is from Baltimore and Harrisburg, GWS. Amelia Salazar says, good morning, Brother Audric Dulay and family. Hashtag Temple Hills. Elisa Mojica says, I miss 110. It was so fun. And Sister Anne Marie says, shout out to all 110 dancers. I'm your biggest fan. Shout out to Sister Anne Marie. I'm your biggest fan. Sister Donna says, shout out sa mga kalanga. Welcome to INC Radio, Washington, D.C. Thank you for all your support. And we're looking forward to seeing what all of your favorite memories were from the INC 110 celebration. Let's see. Brother Danilo Yumo says, good morning, everyone. Happy watching INC Radio Washington, D.C. and greetings from the local congregation of Bowie. We have shout outs from Maricar Villohan. Amelia Salazar says, superhuman energy. Yay, loved it too. Brother Shah Jahan Mohammed says, good morning to all of our brethren. Greetings from Winchester and Gaithersburg. Sister Anne Marie says, I loved going to the rehearsals and feeling the energy, seeing the hard work and dedication. Our final product was so worth it. Praise God. I 100% agree. The final product was so beautiful. Alrighty, let's see. We have a shout out from Rochelle Agultov. It says, Jocelyn Yorsua, shout out. Let's see. Brother Don McConna says, INC 110, hashtag happy pagod or happy tired. I think everyone was definitely happy tired there. We have a good morning from our beloved brother Sidney Santos this morning to all of our brethren and viewers. Let's see, what else? From Buhay ni Inday Amelia sa America, it says, exemplary performance. Kudos to all, especially behind the scenes crew. Hashtag Temple Hills. All right, what else? Brother Shah Jahan Mohammed says, some highlights from the INC 110 concert besides the awesome performances were the exhibit showing off the history of the Church of Christ, the giant 110 sign, and even the greetings from government officials. That sounds very interesting. And then Sister Lizelle Ramirez says, my favorite memories were being around everybody involved, seeing it be put together at the end, and everyone's hard work paid off. Army Jane says, howdy from Fort Worth, South Central States. Let's see. I really want to know about everybody's, favorite memories from the INC 110 concert as well as from the International Kadiwa meet and greet. Gracita Morris says, I really enjoyed watching the CWS perform in our 110th anniversary concert. They're amazing. I agree. They're always the highlight of every performance, I think, is just seeing the young members of the church in their performances. And then Brother Archie Talon says, happy anniversary, po, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo, on your 15 years of dynamic, triumphant, and blessed leadership. We love you, po. Brother Josh Luktu says, it was good seeing new and old faces on that stage, making it happen for God's glory. Thank you for tuning in, Brother Josh. Let's see, what else? Also, happy advanced birthday to Kabeth Talons. And let's see. Oh, Sister Anne Marie says, from New York to Virginia Beach to Winnipeg, so much meeting and greeting. Let's see what else. Sister Lilbeth Talon says, greetings to all of our brethren and friends who are tuned in, watching from Corpus Christi, District of Texas. Sister Anne Marie says, I love the main events with everyone, but following up on connections in smaller groups after the main activities was my favorite. I built a lot of friendships that way. Sister Lizelle Ramirez says, my favorite memory from the IKMG is watching everyone from DC. I know, I think that we definitely had a lot of social media posting and whatnot, showcasing what we did in Canada. But Brother Alberto T. Santos says, good morning, Washington, D.C., Mid-Atlantic. Happy watching to all. Happy 15th anniversary of dynamic leadership to our most beloved executive minister, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo. And I think that's all the greetings that we have time for this morning. So with that, let's check out what's happening on INC Radio next week. As love blossoms, it becomes a foundation built on trust, understanding, and companionship. Experience the joy of discovering each other by joining us on INCRadio Washington, D.C. this Saturday, September 14, 2024 at 9 a.m. Eastern Time as we recap the Courtship, Love, and Marriage Seminar. See you there! And with that, following us today is INCRadio Florida at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And for their unstoppable support, we'd like to thank our INCRadio Washington, D.C. family for supporting our broadcast, especially to our Subsea President, Brother Angelo Manalo, and of course, a very special greeting to our Executive Minister of the Church of Christ, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo. Thank you so much for tuning in to INCRadio Washington, D.C. Satellite Studio. Stay unstoppable.
Inaakay ang mga kapatid sa tapat na paglilingkod sa Panginoon Diyos. Pinangungunahan ang Iglesia sa katampatang pagsamba, pananalangin at matatag na pagkakaisa.
Inalalakas ang loob ng mga kapatid sa gitna ng pagsubok at ng mga kahirapan.
Hinihimok ang mga kaanib na mamuhay ng nararapat sa paningin ng Diyos.
Pinauunlad ang buhay espiritual ng mga kapatid.
Nalalakas ang loob ng mga kapatid kahit sa gitna ng pagsubok at kahirapan.
Leader sa bayan ng Diyos at tanglaw sa ating paglalakbay.
Inaalay ang buong buhay upang ang Iglesia ay alagaan, gabayan at mahalin.
Ang kanyang pangunguna bilang tagapamahalang pangkalahatan ay dakilang biyaya at pag-ibig ng Panginoong Diyos sa kanyang bayan.
Pananalangin, pagmamahal, pagpapasakop, at lubos na pakikipagkaisa sa pagbibigay kasiyahan sa ating Panginoong Diyos. Ang tanging maitutumbas po namin sa walang kaparurang paggawa ng kapatid na Eduardo V. Manalo.
Purihin po ang Panginoong Diyos sa 15 taon ng matagumpay, punong-puno ng pagmamahal na pamamahala ng kapatid na Eduardo Manalo sa Iglesia.
This is INCRadio, DCEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesia ni Cristo.